Hello and welcome to the Irresistible Marketing Pod, the podcast that wants to give you strategies that actually work even when you don't have a big audience or influencer level personal brand. Today we're going to talk about why the more you actually talk to your aligned customers, the better your marketing gets. Plus, why it's way easier to close a new client over an actual conversation than it is to close them over DMs alone. So, if you are selling a service, especially one you will personally be delivering, even if your marketing is spectacular, I'm afraid you still have to actually talk to people. I was having a conversation with a brilliant colleague mentor the other day, and she let slip that she's only ever closed a high-ticket client in the DMs alone once. Have I closed a high-ticket client in the DMs alone, I wondered? Kinda, but only clients I already had a relationship with. I'd worked with them before, or we'd met at a networking thing and chatted, or I'd somehow talked with them first. So, curious, I checked around with other entrepreneurs I admire. And yeah, it's mostly the case. And these are entrepreneurs with healthy, admirable, successful businesses that have lasted without them burning out. Most of us find that it's much easier and less awkward to have a conversation first before pitching. An in-person conversation, or, as is more often the case these days, over Zoom or Google Meets or your online meeting platform of choice. Because when you actually talk with someone, it's easier to get a genuine sense of what that person needs. It's easier to read emotional cues. It's easier to know which offer is a good match or whether they're not a good match at all to work with you. That's why we've all got Zoom coffees or discovery calls, etc. on our schedulers, and or why we teach free classes with open Q&As from time to time. So we can talk to people. Because as much as us introverts love the thought of just throwing marketing out there and having people hit checkout without us ever having to have any sort of vulnerable exchange, it's just not how it usually goes. It's well known that first clients tend to be people you're already connected to somehow, or folks who have been referred to you by someone who already knows and loves you enough to vouch for you. And for those unicorns who can/do just throw a high-ticket offer out there and watch the sales roll in, they tend to have already had so many conversations and interactions with clients that they know just how to message their offer perfectly so their clients can glean everything they need to know from their marketing alone. And yet, these folks, I know we all admire and look up to them, and we've probably all attended a free masterclass or webinar or two from these folks. Which is to say, even those unicorns, those influencer business coaches we all look up to, they are still offering ways for people to interact with them, have a conversation, ask questions, kind of test out their coaching style or their service provider style first before buying, even the unicorns. They're still giving an opportunity for human interaction first before the buy. I like to tell my clients all the time that it took at least 2 years into marketing my business for me to be able to sell something from a single post or a single email. And I was already a marketer. I'd already launched and grown an agency for an employer. I'd already helped to sell and deliver 6-figure projects. I'd already gotten cool, crazy results for clients and other people I did marketing for. Like, I'd been doing this for, I think I'd been in a strictly marketing role for almost 6 years when I opened my business. And then it took 2 years into having my business for a single email to sell something mid to high ticket price or a single post. And it was really, the 2 years there is important for us all to flag. It's not because I suck at marketing. It's because I needed those 2 years to understand who my aligned customer really was. That was 2 years of experimenting with my messaging and honing it after having real conversations with real clients or real people I thought who would make good clients. This was 2 years of flagging what I said in successful sales calls and adjusting my messaging, adjusting my marketing based on not wanting to attract any more bad fit clients or projects after not so great experiences. Like, this was 2 years of getting information right from the horse's mouth, as in aligned clients, or who I thought at the time were aligned clients, or people I thought would make good clients with me because I knew I could help them, but for some reason they weren't buying, and so I was talking with them. Now, it does not have to take you this long. It doesn't have to take you 2 years. You could have a much more structured approach to this than I did back in the day for getting to know, to really, really, really getting to know deeply on a deep level who you're talking to, who your marketing needs to be appealing to, what language you need to be doing so you are phrasing your marketing in the same way that your aligned client thinks about their problem or thinks about their goal. So it doesn't have to take you 2 years to get to the point where you can sell from a single email or a single post. But the point I want to drive home here is that your marketing gets better the more that you actually talk to people. It's a basic and powerful form of qualitative market research. Or, in other words, what big companies spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on each year trying to better understand their market so that their marketing generates more revenue. Like, the big companies out there have spent a lot of money on research to figure out this very thing. Now, you might not be at a point where you can outsource market research to an external firm. If you have a personal brand or a small business, or you're the coach, you're the service provider, I kind of don't ever want you to get to the point where you're not talking to people, because I want you to deeply understand your customer, and I want you to make that a priority moving forward, because your business will run better that way. Anyhow, the more you talk to people, especially those whom you think would be good clients for you, inevitably, the better your marketing is going to get, because you're going to start talking about the problems you solve, the way the aligned customer is thinking about that problem before they encounter a solution. So one of the problems I often help people fix with their marketing is that because they're such an expert, because they have so much experience and wisdom, the way they're like wording their sales page or the way they're talking about the problem they help solve in their marketing is at like a 400 level. But the person who needs to buy this is at 101, right? They need an introductory level messaging often, because you're going to walk them through the expertise they do not yet have and are buying from you, right? So we have to meet them at the level where they're at in order for the message behind our marketing to resonate. So talking to people, you get a better sense of the messaging that works. Like, you can pick up those emotional cues face to face or Zoom to face so much more easily, naturally, instinctually than you can over DMs or an email, right? Because we can't see facial expressions. We might get thrown off by how we're reading the punctuation or emojis or lack thereof in our head, and how they intended it when they sent it. And we can like pick up what is landing, what's resonating, what led to more questions, what made their shoulders drop, what made their face light up. Like, that is such important, useful information for your marketing and your messaging. And talking to people helps you to picture who you're actually saying all this to when you make the marketing moving forward. Because since you've had that real-time reaction from people by testing out the messaging and seeing what lands and seeing what doesn't, you are going to have such a much easier time when you're making the article thinking about that conversation you just had with an aligned client and like crafting it around that person and exactly what they needed to hear to help their situation, to help facilitate them making an investment in working with you to get more of the good stuff, rather than when you sit down to make your marketing. And what often happens to throw us off is instead of crafting it, instead of speaking towards our aligned customers, we accidentally address it to our critics. We accidentally have our discouraging parents in the back of our mind telling us what a risk this is to go into this line of work to open a business. And so we accidentally talk to them in our marketing, not the aligned client. And then the aligned client doesn't know that you're talking to them, and so they don't buy. So it really helps to actually have these conversations. So when you go to make marketing, you have the right person in mind for who you're talking to, for who you're addressing all of this to, for whose concerns you're addressing, for whose goals, for whose pain points. You don't want to market to your critics. You want to market to your aligned customers, and having actual conversations with them is going to really help you do this. Having real conversations also helps prospective clients feel safe with us because they can get a much deeper understanding of what it would be like to work with us, to interact with us, for how our vibes mesh. And ditto for referral partners. They want to know they can trust you before they just send off their clients to you or their overflow to you. Like, they don't want to risk their professional reputation on like a faceless icon, basically. They want to like meet you and feel like they can really vouch for you before they send clients your way. And y'all, let's be real. I've been testing this out. I felt really inspired. I had a guest on the podcast a few episodes back, Molly Lowe, a LinkedIn business coach. She was on episode number 77, How to Actually Get Business from LinkedIn. Yes, you coaches and creatives. And she was so great. I wound up signing up for a few of her workshops and was really impressed by her system of attraction marketing first. Like, that's what we're doing on our social media, on our LinkedIn, where we're like building and establishing a reputation, welcoming people into our audience, having them interested in what we have to say. And then there's this middle step that I think gets missed a lot in the online coaching world. It's like you make the marketing and then you have the clients. But what I really like about Molly's approach is, for LinkedIn, she says the step isn't to go from LinkedIn post to sale. It's to go from LinkedIn post to get them on a call, get them on a coffee chat, get them on a discovery call, and then have a non-gross pressury, genuine conversation where if you're a coach, you demonstrate your coaching style in this conversation. And then if it is aligned, then you can make the offer at the end of that conversation if it's aligned. And Molly, please forgive me for paraphrasing that. Go check out her work, and you can get much deeper into her LinkedIn marketing and lead gen strategy. It's really good. But anyhow, I was inspired to check it out. I was like, that middle step is really missed a lot. The conversation piece is really missed a lot in especially kind of the popular online business coaching marketing out there. Like, a lot of it just sounds like you put out the post and people just roll in, or that's the expectation. And if that's not happening, like, you're just doing something wrong. And I think what is getting really lost in the noise and underemphasized is really creating opportunities for actual genuine human connection. Now, you might get to a point where you're too big. You've just already established your reputation. People feel like they know and love you. They've binged your podcast. They've been watching your channel forever. And so they feel like there's already enough human connection. There's a parasocial relationship there. Like, they know you enough to feel safe investing in working with you because they've already spent all this time and emotional effort getting to know you through your content channels, which is why I love for you to have some sort of long form content channel for them to binge and spend time on and feel like they really get to know you. But if you're not at the point where your marketing just sells your stuff on its own, we need that step of giving them an easy way to talk to you, removing barriers for them to have a conversation with you, face to face, human connection, a real interaction. Because they want to know, can you help me? That's the thing. They want to know, can you help me? And if they don't have enough to go off of from your marketing alone yet, if you don't have any long form content, if you haven't been doing it for a long time, if you haven't had a ton of conversations or client experience yet, if you don't have all these testimonials yet, you're still in the building stage, that's totally okay. But make it easy for them to talk to you. I actually assigned this experiment that I'm doing myself to the Squad, which is my group marketing confidence cheerleading program. It is designed for excellently eccentric, black sheep, big-hearted, rebel entrepreneurs. And it's a marketing mastermind. Yes, we teach marketing concepts and strategies and tactics, and we have challenges and content prompts in our private group, but we also tackle the emotional stuff that can form barriers in our marketing, the scariness of the uncertainty that you encounter as an entrepreneur. We work through a lot of that. We have avoidance groups, so we tackle the scary procrastinating tasks together. This is our procrastination begone remedy. So it's this kind of very hybrid, yes, you're learning about marketing, yes, you're learning how to do it, yes, we have tactical challenges, yes, you're being held accountable for what you do, but we're also paying attention to how you feel, how you approach it, how do we emotionally sustain ourselves through entrepreneurship. And so I assigned this task. I want you to make a Zoom coffee, no more than 30 minutes. You can set limits for how many you take a week, buffers around meetings. You can have an intake form. And then I want you to just post it somewhere where you're like, look, this is what I do. This is what I help with. I really want to have genuine conversations with you. If you're down and I have an offer that's aligned, I might recommend it when we talk. Or if I know someone else who can help, I might connect you. But I'm just interested in having genuine conversations, doing some community building. And if it's a match to work together, great. If not, let's just talk about it. I challenged us all to do this. I made a similar post, and y'all, I'm sure I will hone this message when I invite people to coffee chats the more I experiment with it. But I just want to tell you what a high ROI activity this has been. I made this coffee chat invite on one social media platform about a week ago, and then I invited a few people through the DMs, and on one day. I think I did this all in one day. And I got 6 calls booked. I've done 4 of them already. And at least 2 are potential clients. 2 recommended me to their networks already and shared my podcast around. At least 1 is going to be an upcoming guest on this show. Like, this is a pretty high ROI activity for a relatively low effort in terms of like time it takes to actually like just be like, hey, I have these coffee chats available. Here's what I'd love to talk about. Here's what I'd like to know about you. Here's how to book. Like that didn't take long, but there was some emotional noise even for me about like, oh, I don't want to be gross and slimy. I don't want to be pushy. And so I had some thought work and mindset reframing and cheerleading myself a little bit to do to put that out there. But I am impressed by these results, y'all. So I'm going to keep up with this experiment, and I will keep you posted on what happens for me. And what happens for the squad is we all experiment with just taking some barriers away, giving a low pressure, easy access way to just have a conversation with us about our area of expertise, be able to offer some help right on the call directly to kind of show our stuff, be of service right away, give like a little cheese taster, like at a fancy grocery store where you get to taste the fancy cheese, and the ones you love you go buy, even though you're like, whoa, never thought I'd spend that much in cheese. Just kidding. But and then like not regretting it because it's freaking amazing cheese. So anyhow, I'll keep you posted on this experiment, but I'm very impressed with results so far. Now, the thing I want to address, if your stomach just clenched up and you're like, oh, I couldn't do that. That sounds really awkward. I want to acknowledge this is a vulnerable task. It's a vulnerable task to invite people into conversations about our business, about what we help with, about what we do, to meet them face to face, watch our messaging land or not. Yes, this feels vulnerable. But which feels more vulnerable to you? having more conversations, getting your marketing better, selling more, making your marketing more effective, more efficient, more potent? Does that feel more vulnerable than continuing to post on social media to few likes and no sales? Which feels more vulnerable? Which feels more vulnerable? Talking to people or your business failing? What feels more vulnerable? Finding a way to make it work, to get that bag, to get those clients, to get that recognition, that audience, that the accolades, to do work your way in a fulfilling, non-conventional, I designed this for me and my people way, and having it work. Giving it a chance to work by actually talking to people about it, does that feel more vulnerable than just following all the constricting shoulds that you've been fed by your family, by society, by your old work or your current day job about how to be professional and financially safe, even though following those shoulds leaves you hating your life and feeling deeply unfulfilled? Which of those feels more vulnerable? Which feels more vulnerable? Actually talking to people, actually giving it a shot to work, actually opening the opportunity for more sales, more effective marketing, or just whispering into the void that you have an offer for sale and then being bummed but not surprised that gets you freaking nowhere. Now, when I said that, you might have felt like really galvanized, like, oh yeah, I want to be the big badass business owner. I want to do it my way. I want to own the black sheep, rebel, big-hearted entrepreneurship that I own, that I am. I want to own that. I want to own that identity. Yeah. And then when it comes time to pitch your offer, to talk to someone, to be bolder in how you market and get the word out about your services out there, and something in you shuts down. The fear gets real loud. We got to address the part of you that's scared. If the bigger desire is to own that big-hearted black sheep rebel entrepreneur identity, the one that succeeds at it, that does it your way and succeeds, we got to address that part that's scared and like diverting you. And we usually need to do that with support. It's not something you usually just get over. There's reasons behind that. There's some processing we need to do. There's some love and encouragement that's probably been at a deficit that we need to fill up in order for you to stay tapped into that part of you that wants this, rather than the part of you that feels scared, overwhelmingly afraid of what you'd have to do to get this. So, if you want to grow your business, book out your one-on-ones, sell out your membership, etc., if you want the responsibility of more clients, more sales, more money, more team members, more collaborators, more visibility, the cost of admission is asking for it so that people can hear you. Risking being told no on a large scale, then doing it again tomorrow and the day after, and so on and so forth. In other words, vulnerability is required. And when looked at through a harsh lens, vulnerability can lead to shame. But when looked at through a supportive lens, vulnerability equals courage, and taking the courageous action brings confidence. That's why my favorite thing to offer you is marketing confidence cheerleading, to help you take the courageous actions that will bring you real results, like making a Zoom coffee appointment and inviting your contacts, your network, your most aligned social media platform to come have conversations with you about what you do. I love offering marketing confidence cheerleading, to help you tell your story and tell it again until you find out just how freaking magical it is and how powerful it is when you own it. I love, as your marketing confidence cheerleader, to hype you up and cheer you on, but also hold you accountable to your dreams. I love to provide you with a whole squad of courageous entrepreneurs to cheer you on as you make big, bold moves in community, where we normalize doing it our way, where we normalize business practices that are ethical and consensual and don't hurt us to deliver, where we normalize success on our own terms, where we normalize doing it our way and winning. So, if you need that, we should connect. Here's how I can be your marketing confidence cheerleader. We can work together one-on-one in my high-touch, high-efficiency 3-month season of support container, or you can join my squad of excellently ethical and eccentric entrepreneurs. If you are a season of support one-on-one client, you get complimentary squad membership. So you get both. You get my one-on-one attention and the squad. Or you can just purchase the squad membership. Now, if you're like, Isa, what about one of those Zoom coffees? I got you. So if you know your sales, your audience growth, and your engagement are lower than you'd like, but you're not even sure where to start to fix it, and the analysis paralysis is real, don't worry, I can help. One of my specialties is looking at a big old pile of data and extracting a clear next step. We can chat about it over a complimentary Zoom coffee. Just head to the show notes and book your time. So the link for how to join the season of support, high touch, high efficiency, one-on-one program is in show notes, as is how to join the squad, as is how to book a Zoom coffee. All right, that's all for today, folks. Have a good one. Isa out.